What's up, YouTube and Facebook and all the other social media outlets? We thank everybody for their support and everything. Go ahead and hit that like, comment, and subscribe. Welcome to the Uncle Fred Sports Experience on this 9th day of January 2022 and the last week of the NFL season. But wasn't it something though? Go ahead and hit that like, comment, and subscribe and become a part of the Uncle Fred Sports Experience. I guarantee you will not be disappointed in what you see and what you hear. All right, 2021-2022 season is in the books, okay? And it's a sad day for all us football lovers like you and like me that love the game of football, love what it represents, what it teaches you, the beauty of it, how it's coached, how it's played, the discipline that's required to play it, and all those things. And you so anticipatory, I don't even know if that's a word, to see it coming when July coming and and the preseason games are being played and through August and stuff, and then you just wait. Come on, Labor Day. Come on, Labor Day. After Labor Day, it's on and popping. And they get here in the first game, it's like, woo, it's back. Then you ready for the second week. And before you know it, it's week 7, week 9. Next thing you know, it's week 11, 13. And you're like, this, and the thing's heating up. The playoff races are heating up. And then you get to where we're at today, and the regular season is over. But didn't it go out with a bang? It most certainly did. Now, going into the game, we heard some scenarios and things that would happen. And me and my son were talking about it. And, we was talking about if we're looking at some of the games, I'm going to go down the list of games that won and lost and stuff. And then, we'll get to all this. And he was saying there was a couple things. I said, if this happened, and this team could play for a tie, then this team will get knocked out and this team will go. And I'm like, this team will never beat that team. And there's no way two teams are going to play for a tie when they're playing, to go to the playoffs. Ain't nobody going to settle for a tie. But I'd be daggum if that didn't almost happen. So let's get into it. Now, for my pick'ems, your boy, he went 10-6. I went 10-6 today. Not terrible, not my best week. I done had a 13-3 week, and I done had a 12-4 week, and an 8-8 week, 5-9 week, 5-8-1 week, and have all that stuff. But 10-6 is good. In most seasons, in a 16-game season, 10-6 will get you in the playoffs. So you can go on that. So let's run down the games. And then we'll talk about the different scenarios. And man, like I always been saying, the NFL will never disappoint. Okay. NFL will never disappoint. It's always something that will give you something. It's always something. So let's just break down the games and let's see what we got here. So first of all, we got, on Saturday, we had two games. We had Kansas City at Denver. And so Kansas City and Denver played Saturday. And I'm going to tell you just like this here. Denver outplayed Kansas City. Okay. Let's just get that, but Kansas City won. Let's go ahead and let me run down my things here. Here we go. Hold on. Where my stuff go? Here we go. They won 28-24. Okay. Now, Broncos was actually going down going to, they were up 21 to 24-21, 28-24. They was up 24-21. They were driving to go to win it, to go up 8 or 7, 8 or whatever. It was up 3, to go up 10. Okay. And Melvin Gordon fumbled. They got returned for like a 65, 70-yard touchdown. And I was like, And not that I've done that. Look, I picked Kansas City. So Kansas City wins 28-24. All right. Then we have Dallas at Philly. And I'm gonna talk about that on my Cowboys video, but the Cowboys win 51-20. Now the word and all of this talk about that was that, well, the Cowboys is playing against practice squad players. Nobody really started, but what they failed to tell you is the Cowboys is down like 8 starters also. They were down like 7, 8 starters because Tyron Smith, Pro Bowl left tackle, didn't play. Tony Pollard, who's a sometime starter, he's got like 185 carries. Him and Zeke split carries. He didn't play. Okay. Michael Gallup didn't play because he got knocked out last week with an ACL injury, so he's out for the season. So he didn't play. On defense, Michael Parsons has CV-19. He didn't play. Then you look at on the defense, on the secondary, Trayvon Diggs didn't play, and Anthony Brown didn't play. Okay, so right there, and you got Jaron Kearse didn't play. So basically, of the 4 secondary positions, the 2 corners and the 2 safeties, 3 of them were replacements. A couple of them were rookies. Okay, they were playing back there, and then in place of Michael Parsons, they played some dude named Luke Gifford. Okay, who really plays on special teams. So when you look at it, and then, I know the Cowboys starting quarterback and a 3 or 4 their offensive linemen were playing, and a couple of their receivers were playing, and some of the defense were playing. But I know all of the Eagles wasn't playing except Devontae Smith and Jalen Reagor and a couple others. But the Cowboys win 51-20. And Dak Prescott had a monster day, 21 of 27, 295, 5 touchdowns, no interceptions. So he did pretty good. So anyhow, so those 2 games, and then on today you had Pittsburgh and Baltimore. As only Pittsburgh and Baltimore could be, 13-13 going into overtime, and Tyler Huntley throws a late pick late in the 4th quarter that gives Pittsburgh an opportunity to tie the game up, and then it goes to overtime, and then Pittsburgh kicks the winning field goal, 16-13 in OT. What else would you have for Pittsburgh and Baltimore? Now, why that's important is Pittsburgh gets in if a couple of things happen, and a lot of crazy things have to happen. Like, I don't know, Jacksonville has to beat Indianapolis. Which they were like an 8-point favorite, 5, 6, 7, 8-point favorite. Okay. And then in order for them to, and then the Raiders and the Chargers had to, which if that happened, then the Chargers had to, one of those teams had to win. But if both teams tied, then, there's some other things that have to go in the thing. But Pittsburgh handled their business. They won their game 16-13 in overtime. Cincinnati and Cleveland. Look, Cincinnati had already had their division wrapped up last week. Didn't play anybody. Played Brandon Allen. Didn't play Mixon. Chase played. Jamar Chase played, for like probably a quarter. And for the most part, they just kind of mailed it in. I think they had like 183 yards of total offense. So they really didn't try to do anything, but they lost 21-16. So Cleveland actually sweeps them, but they end up finishing 8-9, and Cincinnati is 10-7, and they win the AFC North, and they are in the playoffs. And we'll get down to the playoff pairings here in just a minute. Then you got Green Bay and Detroit upset number 1. I had Green Bay because I figured even with their excuse me, I figured even with Green Bay having Love playing, instead of Aaron Rodgers played a half and maybe a little bit of the third quarter. Okay. And they made it competitive. Jordan Love actually threw a 62-yard touchdown pass late in the third quarter to put them up, and ran for the 2-point conversion. But Jared Goff and those guys, and Amon-Ra St. Brown, came through, and they had a couple of touchdowns late. And hey, the Detroit Lions win 37-30, but Green Bay still, they're 13-4. They still got the number 1 seed in the NFC. And I think Detroit goes to 3-13-1. And they get the second pick in the draft or whatever. So anyhow, so I lost that one too. So that's the only one I lost to Cleveland and Cincinnati. I had Cincinnati, I had Green Bay, so I lost those two. But the first 3 games I had. Then you had Tennessee at Houston. Tennessee jumped out to a 21-0 lead, but I'll be dadgum if Houston didn't come back and try to make a game of that thing. What's his name? Davis. Is it Jordan Davis? What is that guy's name? Quarterback for the Houston Texans. Davis Mills. You know me and names. Davis Mills had like 300 yards and 3 touchdowns. 3 touchdowns. And David Amendola used to play with the Patriots. Had like a 100-yard game and a touchdown. They fought gamely for this. It's like that team plays hard for David Cullen. So he can take solace in that. They don't have a lot of talent. They play hard. Tennessee was still trying to play hard so that they could wrap up that number 1 seed. To get that much needed 1 week off, which a lot of teams that's the thing. That's the carrot that the NFL is dangling over all the teams. You only got 1 bye, so those teams are fighting that way. That's why I'll get it right in a minute. That's why it was having teams still playing their players late in the season, so they can lock up that first round bye and they can rest guys. And used to be 2 byes. The top 2 seeds got byes. Now with the long additional game and the additional playoff spot, it makes it uneven to have 2 byes because you got 7 teams, so it's down to 1 bye. So Green Bay already got theirs in the NFC, and Tennessee, if they win, they would get theirs, and they end up winning 28-25. So Tennessee gets, and they got home field advantage throughout the playoff. Tennessee Titans, all AFC games be running through Nissan Stadium, Nashville, Tennessee. Congratulations to Mike Vrabel for a job well done. When Derrick Henry went out November 1st, 2 months ago, nobody would have thought the Tennessee Titans would be, having the number 1 seed. It just seemed inconceivable. But they kept playing, kept scrapping. Byard Bud Dupree and all them guys, man. That defense just hung in there, man. And Tannehill made just enough plays, and Dante Foreman. I know you're not Derrick Henry, but he played well. Had 100 yards today too, as a matter of fact. Dante Foreman had 21 carries. No, he had 69 yards and a touchdown. Okay. But they hold them off 28-25, and Tennessee's number 1 seed. Then here's the one. Here's the one that had the whole NFL in total freaking chaos. Okay. It was Indianapolis and Jacksonville. Now, Indianapolis, they're 9-7 and got the NFL's leading rusher and Jonathan Taylor, and the best offensive line in football with Quentin Nelson and Ron Kelly and a couple other guys and Doyle, and that they just maul guys. And then there's play action, and you got Michael Pittman and T.Y. Hilton. They just maul you. So I'm like, they're gonna go down there and massacre Jacksonville. But a funny thing happened on the way to the market. Eggs was dropped all up and down the sidewalk. I come home. I get home from church. It's 16-3. I'm like, What the heck is that? So, okay, that's fine. They'll come back and score 2 touchdowns in the second half, 3 touchdowns in the second half. Get back in it. I ain't worried about it. Keep looking. It's 26-3. The heck? I'm like, you got to be kidding me. You trying to tell me Jacksonville actually playing some football? They actually not mailing it in. They actually going to risk losing the number 1 overall pick, because they didn't know Detroit was going to win today. They ain't know that. Detroit lose. They lose that number 1 pick. So, but they win, and so they So anyhow, they go on and do their thing, and they Jacksonville wins 26-11 in a very forgettable game by Carson Wentz. I think he was like 17 or 29 for like 158 yards and a touchdown, and a 2-point conversion at the very end of the game. Very cosmetic. And Jonathan Taylor, I think, had 17 carries and 77 yards, 15 carries, 77 yards, and they just couldn't get the job done. I think they had like 13 first downs. Really just couldn't get nothing done, man. This is one that's going to stay with Carson Wentz, because you went there and they had all these things. They actually went to the playoff last year with I think 11-5 record, if I'm not mistaken. And get a Carson Wentz, supposedly an upgrade at quarterback, and you 9-8 and you don't make it. That's going to stick to him. I know there's a lot of people that like Carson Wentz, want him, is kind of pulling for him to get another shot at this thing. And with this team really built around him, with good personnel all around him, a good solid defense, couldn't get it done. So Indy goes home. They're 9-8. Jacksonville, because Detroit won also, they won and didn't lose their number 1 draft pick. So I guess it's good, but that upsets the apple cart. So now that makes all these other games mean different things now. So, and it basically it raised utter chaos in the NFL because of that game. Jacksonville and Indianapolis had just won the dadgum game, everything would have went according to plan. But no, they couldn't do that. That's too much like right. So anyhow, Chicago at Minnesota. I missed those 2. I missed both of those. Minnesota wins that one 34-27, if I'm not mistaken. And really not much to say about this one. I think this might be the end of the road for Mike Zimmer, as I was saying in my pick'em segment. I think he's kind of worn out his welcome. I kind of didn't like, how he addressed Kelly Mond. When the reporter asked him, did he want to maybe get another look at him? Because he's a rookie. You might want to get a look at, the rookies when they play and stuff, and especially in games that don't have any playoff implications. I think 31-17. I had to score wrong. No, I've seen him already. I don't need to see nothing else. I'm like, wow, that's just, and that's just kind of like, and you got to look at how that kind of stuff plays in the locker room when you say stuff like that. Yeah, you gotta, it's almost like, dang, coach don't believe in me. Coach don't think I can play, or that coach thinks I'm, and that kind of sounds like a coach that kind of must have been on his way out or knows that this Custer's last stand and whatnot. But they win this game though. They win 31-17 over the Chicago Bears and stuff. And the Washington football team, they beat the New York Giants 22-7. New York football Giants, probably right down there with the Detroit Lions and the Jacksonville Jaguars, probably the worst team in the NFL. Joe Judge probably should have got fired along with Dave Gettleman. Probably both of them should have got, but they hold on to their job. Boy, they better knock this daggum draft. They got a couple of draft picks in the first round. They better knock these draft picks out the park, man. But there ain't no good quarterbacks in this draft until later to be picked. And you still got Danny Dimes, so I don't know what you're going to do. But they lose that game 22-7. And I think Washington goes to 7-10, and New York football Giants fall to 4-13. And very regrettable season. Matter of fact, they haven't finished over 500 since 2016 when they went to the playoffs. And, Odell went to South Beach before the Green Bay game. That's the last time they was over 500. That seems so long ago. Then you got Seattle and Arizona. Man, look out, man. That daggone Russell Wilson played his you know what off, man. Scored a running touchdown late in the game. You saw him and Pete Carroll pushing each other like, yeah, you know, like that. And I like seeing that, man, because it's probably the last hurrah for both of them. One of them, I just don't see both of them coming back. One of them, I think, is going to be, I think Russ got a couple of years left on his contract. Pete Carroll is 70 years old. You know, at some point, you know, you kind of got to, you know, give it up. But man, Arizona had everything to play for here. They played at home, which they haven't. That's their fourth loss at home this year, if I'm not mistaken. It's either 4 or 5. I know 4 or 5 off top of my head. Because I know Carolina beat them. I know Green Bay beat them. I know the Rams beat them, and I know this team beat them today. Seattle beat them today. So that's at least 4 home losses that off the top of my head. And if I keep pulling, I bet I can find 1 or 2. So they weren't really a good home team this year. Okay. But they were pretty good on the road. I thought they only lost like 2 road games all year. So, you know, I don't know, but man, Russ played his butt off, man. Russell had he had 238 yards and 3 touchdowns. Rashard Penny, 22 carries, 190 yards and a touchdown. Okay. Colin Murray had 240 yards and a touchdown, and, you know, and they lose 38-30, and the Seahawks move up to 7-10 for their last game, and the Cardinals move down into the wild card round now. They're 11-6, okay, and they lost 4 of their last 5 games. The only team they was able to beat was my Cowboys. Yeah. And then you got this was a good game here. San Francisco at the Los Angeles Rams. Rams jumped out to a 17-0 lead, and I'm like, and Jimmy Garoppolo threw a bad interception. Actually, threw 2 of them. One of them on a tip, and a couple. You know, just sometimes he just throws the ball in places that shouldn't be thrown. But in the second half, he and Ayuk, and what's that kid's name that caught the touchdowns? Brandon Ayuk had 6 catches for 107 yards, and they what's the kid's name? Deebo Samuels had a 16-yard yard run. Deebo Samuels is a monster, man. When he gets his speed up and gets out of the backfield and whatnot, man, you're really not wanting to tackle that dude, you know. Then when he catches them in the open field, yeah, guys be making what they call business decisions with him. But the touchdown was by Jennings. Yeah, Jennings. He was the guy. Jawan Jennings. Yeah, that's who it was. It was Jawan Jennings, who scored a couple of touchdowns, had some big catches late in the game, and they went to overtime as well. And went to overtime, and the 49ers get the ball first. They go down, they kick a field goal, and Jennings had some nice catches on there, as well as Ayuk and Deebo Samuels to move the ball down the field, kick a field goal. And then the Rams get the ball to try to answer. Game ends on a Matthew Stafford interception, trying to force a ball to Odell Beckham. Does that sound familiar to you? So the Rams win the NFC West, and the Arizona Cardinals fall to the wild card round, and also the 49ers get a wild card berth. They get the number 6 seed in the playoffs. Okay, and then you got Carolina and Tampa Bay. Now Carolina jumped on them 7-0, but Tom Brady was like, you know what, man, I'm not playing with you guys. I'm gonna, and he, had a nice workmanlike game. I think he threw for like 240 some odd yards and like 3 touchdowns, and they win. I mean, it's Carolina really could have. did the same thing that Jacksonville did to Indy. They could have, I mean, because the Buccaneers was going to the playoffs anyway, had already won the division, had that, but they could have forced them down to the third spot. And they would have got the Cowboys to second spot. But you know, whatever, man. Do what you do. Do what you do. But anyhow, Tampa Bay wins there with Tom Brady. He actually had a better game than I thought. He threw for 326 yards. He was 29 of 37, 326, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. And they was led in rushing by Scotty Miller, 2 carries for 43 yards, probably on a nice end around or something like that. And they end up winning 45 to 41-17. And the Buccaneers go to 13-4. But they got a worse conference record than the Packers. So they get the number 2 seed. But had they lost that game, they'd have been 12-4. And them, the Rams, and the Cowboys would have been 12-5. But the Cowboys had a better conference record because they've only lost 2 of their 5 games in conference. The other 3 losses came out of conference. Okay, so yeah, they only lost to, I think, the Arizona Cardinals and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So in the 3-way tie, they would have got the 2nd seed. But if it was a tie between them and the Buccaneers get the nod because they have a better. They beat them head to head. But if in a 3-way tie with the Cowboys, the Rams, and the Bucks, had the Bucks lost, then the Cowboys would have got the number 2 seed. So I was kind of pulling for Carolina, but they let me down. And Sam Darnold, 29 of 42, 219. Tuba Hubbard, 9 carries, 48. And not really much. They kind of didn't play. They playing out the string. They're trying to hire offensive coordinators since they fired Joe Brady. They're looking at Bill O'Brien, and they're looking at Jay Gruden, to fill that offensive. But they're bringing Matt Rule back next year. I've heard that right off the wire. So anyhow, so that's that. And then finally, the Los Angeles Chargers and the Las Vegas Raiders. Now, this is the game I was talking about because once the first domino fell with Jacksonville upsetting Indianapolis, many folks say, the Chargers and the Raiders get in if these 2 teams tie. And so basically they could just take a knee and both teams get in because they both would be 9-7-1, which was the same record that the Steelers have, but both of those teams beat the Steelers. So both of those teams will get the 5th and the 6th, the 6th and the 7th spots respectively. And it looked like the Raiders was going to jump out on them. They jumped out on them 10-0 and 10-7, and it's 26-14. And I'm like, good. But then the Chargers came back. It was 29-14. They came back, got a touchdown, got the 2-point conversion, made it 29-22. And I be dadgum, the Raiders don't turn the ball over and give it back to them. And they go down, they get a touchdown with 2 seconds left in the game to tie the game at 29. And I'm like, you got to be dadgum kidding me. How you can't make this stuff up? And I'm like, they're going to overtime. So it's a possibility that these 2 teams end in a tie because you only play for 10 minutes. So Raiders get the ball and they go right down the field, like 78 yards, and get a touchdown, get a field goal, make it 20, make 32-20, 29. And the Chargers come right back, and they get a field goal on their own, converting like 2 or 3 4th downs. They had a 4th and 10 on one, and Mike Williams got away. I thought he was going to score. Like on a 35-yard reception, caught it and ran. Big Mike Williams, once he gets rolling, man, it's hard to bring him down. But they brought him down, and they made them settle right inside the 30-yard line. They settled for like a 47-yard field goal, and that tied the game at 32 with like 2 minutes and some change left in the game. And then the Raiders on 1st down go to Brian Edwards on like a 16-yard play. And on 1st down, they was playing them for the run, and they play action them sort of, got the safety sucked up, and they hit Brian Edwards on the sideline for a 16-yard gain. and got them like the 35, 36-yard line. And then they started running the football. Tick, 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 tick. And they ran it again. Tick, tick, tick. I'm like, oh my gosh, they're playing for a tie to get both of the teams in it. And then the announcers will say, well, yeah, they don't want to make a mistake, throw something over the middle and get it tipped and picked, and then they win the game, and then you because whoever lost the game is out of the playoffs. But if they tie, both get in. So, but Jacobs broke a couple of runs. It was like third and like 4, and he broke the run and got like 12 yards and got inside the 30-yard line. They ran it again and got inside the 30. And so they kicked like a 46-yard field goal, Carlson, with no time left. And it just went through. And they win 35-32. So the Raiders get the spot. But it came a whiskers close to being a tie. And both teams would have got in, and the Steelers would have went home. And Ben's last game would have been today. But the Chargers go home. They're 9-8. The Raiders go on. They're 10-7, and they get the last playoff spot. Next to the last playoff spot, they get number 6. Steelers fall to number 7, and so I'm going to give you the playoff run and give you my pick'ems, and then we're gonna close this video down. But man, it was a great NFL season this year, man. I mean, it's full of a lot of things you thought you'd never see. Like I said, one game I remember I thought I would never see a punter punt the ball twice. And I was like, ain't that a penalty? Nope, they didn't call it. Thought I'd never see a team miss like 5 field goals in a game, but we saw that. Never saw a game would come down to 2 teams possibly tying to get another team in. So man, I don't know, man. You've seen a lot of things this year. Saw a lot of good play. Saw some great receiving work by Cooper Kupp. I failed to mention to you in the game that they lost to the 49ers. I think he had like 6 catches for like 159 yards. So he ends up with like 148 catches for like 1,910 yards and 16 touchdowns. He didn't get 150 in 2000, but he came pretty darn close. Pretty darn close. Okay. So let me go and give you the playoff rundown, and we'll see where we go here. And I'll make my picks, and then we're gonna get out of here. Here we go. NFL playoff schedule. This is what we got so far, and that's the wrong one. Let's see here. I had it right here. Okay, let's see here. Here we go. Updated, because when I looked at it at first, it was while the Raiders and Chargers game was still going on, and that was kind of up in the air. But now, since that game is gone final, here's the playoff schedule. On Saturday, January 15th, at 4:30 p.m., the Raiders will be at the Cincinnati Bengals. Okay. Then at 8:15 p.m. on NBC, the Patriots will be playing the Buffalo Bills. Okay. Sunday, January 16th, at 1 o'clock, it'll be the Eagles at the Buccaneers. That's a 7-2. At 4:30, which is 3:30 Central Time, that'll be the 49ers at the Cowboys. That's a 6-3 matchup. That's on CBS. Then that night on NBC at 8:15, 7:15 Central, will be the 7th-rated Steelers versus the 2-rated Chargers on NBC. Then Monday night, they're having a Monday night playoff game, and it'll be the Arizona Cardinals at the Los Angeles Rams at 8:15 on ABC and ESPN. So let me go ahead and make my picks and give you my little crack analysis, and then we're gonna soon be done with this. And man, I hate to, I really hate to see an end to this NFL season. But it's just what it is. And all good things come to an end. But boy, did we have a good time while it lasted. And I'm just sorry to see it go. But it's gonna be some great playoff matchups, man. Let's go ahead and tell you what we got. So first on Saturday, we got the New England Patriots at the Cincinnati Bengals. You got the excuse me. I'm sorry. We got the Raiders. The Raiders at the Cincinnati Bengals. I'm sorry. I got it backwards. The Raiders at the Bengals. So, man, Raiders are such a ragamuffin bunch, though. But they got that never say die spirit, man. But they're gonna be playing at Cincinnati. Cincinnati's the first time, actually the first time either have been in the playoffs. I think the Raiders been in the playoffs in 16. I think that was Carr's rookie year, and they haven't been since. That's the only time they've been to the playoffs since their 2002 Super Bowl berth. When John Gruden was coaching them the first time. You know what, man? Joe Burrow, never been in the playoffs, but Joe Burrow, Joe Mixon, Jamar Chase, Tyler Boyd, T. Higgins. Raiders, Zay Jones, Brian Edwards, Darren Waller, and Hunter Renfrow. Josh Jacobs. You know what, man? I'm going to go with the Raiders. I just got a feeling about these Raiders. I got a feeling. I know it's going to be in inclement weather. It's going to be cold, brittle, and warm weather team. Cold usually don't end well for the warm weather team. But I just got a funny feeling about these Raiders. I'm going to go with the Raiders. I kind of feeling that one might go the other way, but I got a feeling about these Raiders. I'm going to go with the Raiders. Then you got the New England Patriots at the Buffalo Bills. Look, first I thought it was going to be the Raiders at the Bills and the Patriots, and the Patriots at the Bengals. And I had the Patriots beating the Bengals because I just thought that they just but I just think Buffalo may have too much firepower for Bill Belichick, in his defense. So I'm gonna go with the Buffalo Bills to win on Saturday evening on NBC. That game's gonna be at 8:15 on CBS, and I'm going with the Bills on that one. Okay, I'm going with the Raiders in the first game, and I'm going with the Bills in the second game. Then we got the Sunday games. You got the Eagles and the Buccaneers. Now, I'm going to tell you this. I feel like Jalen Hurts and that little misdirection running game that they do is going to be, hard for the Buccaneers to deal with because they run an offense and no other. It's basically a one of. But I never vote against Tom Brady in games like this, man. Especially a team that's and made the playoffs. But congratulations to the Philadelphia Eagles. They're going 9-8 and getting to the playoffs, man. Nobody thought at the beginning of the season that the Eagles were going to the playoffs. They thought they were thinking they were going to be at the top of the lottery. Congratulations to Nick Sirianni and that staff, Jeffrey Lurie, the owner, and Jalen Hurts, quarterback, Devontae Smith, and all those guys, man. I know I'm a Cowboy fan, but I give credit where credit is due. Congratulations to the Eagles, man, for doing what nobody thought they could do. They went to the playoffs this year. Nobody had them in the playoffs. But I think, unfortunately, they rolled and the playoffs comes to an end on Sunday. I got the Buccaneers winning, but I think I got the Eagles making it a little tough on them. But I think by the second half they'll have a gauge on what they're doing, and I think they'll salt some of that stuff out and make Jalen have to throw some. And I think maybe they get a pick or two. But you know what? I would love to see Jalen beat them, but I just don't think they will. But I got the Buccaneers on that. And then Sunday at 4:30, 3:30 Eastern Central Time on CBS, which is weird because these are two NFC teams. CBS usually does the AFC, but somehow they got some sort of thing here and so that the CBS is doing the 2 NFC games. So you got the 49ers at the Dallas Cowboys. Okay. Now I ain't gonna spend a whole lot of time on this because I'm gonna do a little preview on the Cowboys themselves for this game. But I got the Cowboys in this game because I always pull with the Cowboys, roll with the Cowboys. But I do think this is a game. Kyle Shanahan is an expert play caller, formation originator, and play designer. He's gonna have the Cowboys off balance all game because I always say, though I love the Cowboys, their game planning is cliff notes. They hit just the high notes, just the highlights. They don't read the fine print. And I guarantee there's going to be several times in that game they're going to be fooled because Deebo Samuel's in the backfield. They didn't somehow, the scouting report didn't hit them that he runs the football out of the backfield and gets, they run him 4 or 5 times out of the backfield. They're going to get fooled by that. Okay. Because I told you when they were playing the Raiders back on Thanksgiving, the Raiders get inside the goal line, they bring Mariota in. How you get deked on the zone read fake? That's what he's coming in for, unless you didn't read that in the scouting report. So so that's always the Achilles heel for the Cowboys. They're always high and large on talent, low on preparation. So this game will be closer than it should be, but I got the Cowboys winning. Then finally on Monday night, you got the Arizona Cardinals at the Los Angeles Rams at SoFi at 8:15 Eastern, 7:15 Central. And I went back and forth on this one, and forth and back, and then back and forth. And at first I said I went with the Cardinals, but I had to come back and change my pick. I think I got the Rams. I think I got the Rams winning this one. I had originally said the Cardinals because I thought that Kyler Murray was going to come, but they lost today, and they really ain't looked good the last month and a half. They lost like 6 out of their last 9 games. It's a team was 7-0 at one time in the season, and they finished the season 11-7, 11-6, excuse me. So that means they only won 4 games and lost 7, and lost 11. Won 4 games, lost 11. I mean, lost. You know what I mean? Lost 6. Won 4 games, lost 5 games. Won 5 games won 4 games and lost 6. So the next 10 games, they were 4-6. So haven't looked good the last couple of months of the season. So I'm gonna go with the Rams. Okay, on this one. Okay, I'm gonna go with the Rams. So I got the Raiders. I got the Raiders. I got the Bills. I got the Bucks. I got the Cowboys, and I got the Rams. Let's see where this thing go. Look, that's all I got, man. For my picks in the closeout of the 2021 regular season. It's a regular season for the books. But that's all I got. I'll see you guys next week and see how my picks shake out. You guys take care, man. It's been a wonderful ride, people. And we'll be back with you next week and see how our picks went. You guys take care.